Oh, that's the start button. So, hello guys, welcome back for another stream of Reread 18. And today we're gonna read A Good Deed Can Turn Deadly. If I can start this, you know, if I can start this. Because I've been having trouble. I started the stream like 4 times now. And hopefully this is the last because I'm getting tired. I might sleep if this doesn't turn out well. So yeah. Hi, hello. I'm not nervous anymore. Maybe I'm cold earlier, but yeah. I don't know if you can hear me. Let me check. Hello. Should I up my volume? Hello. I'm gonna read, by the way. So we must check. We must check it. We must we must check if it's in good quality. Hello, you're back. Hopefully you can't hear the you know, my background noise. It's very natural. The broom brooms and uh, the people walking. The people walking over here. Walking here. I'm walking here. Hi. Hello, Carlo. We're back. Hopefully the camera is good now. Ah, you didn't see that. You didn't see that, did you? Anigayo. Why is this? Oh, I haven't put it on the stand yet. Hopefully my. Oh no, my camera is in the wrong direction. Um, how should we do this? Should I um, huh? How? I'm not sure. ちょっと uh, what's this one? Hey, ちょっとちょっとよ I found something. What's this? What's this one? I found a camera. What's that supposed to do? My camera is white. Ah, my camera is white. Eh? What are you supposed to see? Anyways, how do I do this? Can I edit? No. Oh no, I can't edit the layout. Can I edit the layout? Oh, I can. Wow. Whoa. Portrait. Oh shit. I can't edit the portrait. Oh, portrait the screen? It's gonna look small though. not sure how to do this. Anyways. Huh. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. ちょっと待って。Like this? Or like that? ちょっと let's listen this one. Yeah, like that. Okay. How about that one? Come in. It's still on portrait. Why is my camera on portrait? Nande? Come. It turned really small. So I have to show it like this, guys. Isn't that right? Okay. Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm gonna need to turn my stand the other way. Shut up. Lay down for a bit. This. It's been a while since I streamed, so I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. There's a lot of twists and turns, but that happens. I'm setting you up real good. Hopefully you can't see the mess on the side. There we go. You're nice and tight on the stand. Hopefully you can't see my nose or face accidentally. And I don't have good lighting, right? I'm outside, so currently I can't really. Okay. Hi! Thank you for cheering me on. Now we can start. It's already 12:30. So I have this right now. A good deed can turn deadly. I just bought this like last December. 2025's December. So this is by Nikki French, The Favor. Okay. Are you probably gonna start na? Tell me if the audio is alright. Because I'm gonna need to fix the mic placement over here. Because I don't think it's a good one. I haven't done this in a while. Hi, thank you, Carlomi. Carlomi. Should I call you that, Carlomi? Carlomi Miranda. The audio? Oh no! I need to do that every time. Oh no! I need to set up a camera. Oh no. I need to tap it constantly. Come on, Let's just stay it for a while, because this works. So, this is The Favor. I think this is, I'm sorry. This is, not a series, because I can't do a series yet. I'm gonna need to find the other books. So, it's a good one. I'm not gonna say where I bought it, but it's a gift, I think. Yeah. I don't know if you can see. Pwede ba may zoom in? Wow, you can zoom in. That's so good. Oh my gosh. I can't really read like that. Too curtsy. Oh, chato. Gonna move you guys. Gonna move you guys. Ah! Did you see me? I'm sorry. Ah! You didn't see me. You didn't see me. It's a fluke. It's a fluke. It's a fluke. You didn't see me. I should probably wear a mask. It's too dangerous right now. My my stand is too flimsy. I know. Okay, but anyways, I can probably read like this. I'm hugging you guys. Because my face is right on the phone. Can you hear me? My camera is... My mic is like on my neck. So you can probably hear the vibration. So let's start. Prologue. Am I already butchering that one? I don't know what it is. What is like what that's called. Should I act? I'm kind of scared. It's nighttime. I screamed through the air. I screamed through the air. She didn't know if it came from her or from him as his hands flew up to cover his face, or from the car itself as it left the road with the screech of tires on the tarmac. The silence, the trees filling the windscreen, its leaves black in the headlights, a crunch of metal, and the lights went out. Her face rummed hard against something. Pain flowered in bright colors inside her skull. She tilted her face and opened her eyes, seeing blues and reds and nasty purples. There was a silence in the car. Terror washed through her, and the terror was bigger than the pain. Please help me. Jude. Is this a dude or... please help me, Jude said to no one at all. They had been driving back from a party in Liam's rusty old Fiat, with one of its wing mirrors held in place by tape, and an anonymous rattle on steep hills. Jude and Liam were in front, Yolanda and Benny in the back. Though Benny was passed out, his head on Yolanda's shoulder and his mouth open, and Yolanda was also fast asleep. Jude looked at the clock on the dashboard. It was 2 in the morning, but still warm after a wintering day. Can you see? Mata. It felt like the sky might split open at any moment, and a flood of rain would soak into the parched, cracked earth. It had been a hot summer. Jude thought of sitting her A-levels in May and June, the sun glaring through the large window and her fingers slippery on the pen. Beads of sweat on her forehead and damp patches under her arms. That seemed like another world away because the middle of June she had been in love, stupid and dizzy. Why? Nande. You have to do that. I need to tape this. This is stupid. No. Don't do that. Don't do that. Oh my gosh. Okay, where are we? Where are we? That's stupid. What the heck? I can see it. Should I read it from the phone? But I like reading it on the paper. Anyways. Where are we? Can I move it over here? Okay, okay. ちょっとどこどこどこ Where are we? Where are we? Sorry. Hello, whoever is watching. I forgot where we are. Chotto. I'm getting distracted. Okay. I think we're here. Stupid and dizzy and glorious with love. And love has never before. Her body ached with it, so she could feel it with her fingers had touched her, where his fingers had touched her. Her lips were sore, but the party had taken her into a garden and kissed her until she had laid down on the lawn in full sight. But he'd whisper later. His hot breath in her ear. But now it was later. They would drop off Yolanda, haul Benny out of the car and into his front steps and drive into the woods. He had a blanket in the boot of his car. She didn't mind if it rained. She imagined her wet bodies pressed against each other, and a shiver of anticipation rippled through her. She looked over at him, and he felt her looking and put his hand on her thigh. Though her thin material of her dress, William Birch was not her type at all. William was not on track. Jude was. Oh, Jude's a girl. She had known she was going to be a doctor since she was at primary school. Wow. And she had worked for years to get there. Never letting up, she had a place at medical school as long as her results were all right. She was sure they would be. In 6 weeks, she would be heading to Bristol. Liam didn't know what he was going to do next. He was good with his hands. He could fix almost anything, and he could pick up a pencil and a few strokes create something vivid, startling. Jude said he could go into art school, and he would shrug his shoulders and say he would see what happened, as if it wasn't really his decision to make. As if life just rolled him over and carried him along. Maybe he would go traveling, he said. Get away from his medium-sized town in the middle of England, where he had lived all his life with his parents and his little brother. She looked down at the hand that lay warm and heavy on her thigh. What would happen when she went into university? They haven't talked about the future. It's just as she didn't know a great deal about Liam's family, his childhood, his previous relationships. What mattered was now and here, and the lovely loosening of her body when he touched her. When she thought of him touching her, and the way he looked at her and said her name. They haven't been at the same school. Liam had gone to a large sixth form college on the outskirts of Shropshire town. They both lived in the uh, Shropshire town they both live in. Due to the comprehensive, but she had been aware of him. A tall, lanky figure with dark hair that needed cutting, and clothes that never looked new. Ripped jeans, t-shirts with new mysterious words on them, and a weird green jacket that on someone else would have looked terrible. But of course, since he carried it off. She had seen him over the past 2 years, walking along the streets in a group of other teenagers, smoking, wriggling from cans, looking cool and impossibly worldly. A few days after her last exam, a friend introduced her to him at a party. She waited for him to say, "Hey, Jude," and laugh at his own wit, but he didn't. She waited for him to turn away and go back to his gang, but he didn't do that either. He told her about a baby fox he had run over that day, how he'd thought at first it was a little child who'd run into the road. The fox was still alive and squealing piteously, and passerby had quickly gathered to watch. He had to kill it, he said, smashing a stone from a curbside against his head, and then take the body and dumped it in the woods. He had carried it for almost half an hour, hot and ranked in his arms. He was a bit stoned. His pupils were large, his eyes dark, almost black, in dim light. Jude was surprised by how friendly he seemed and how young, almost ordinary, just a handsome boy. For the first few weeks, it had been, but nagpipicture. For the first few weeks, it had been a gorgeous secret that she hugged to herself. She didn't tell her friends because she didn't want them rolling their eyes or saying anything that would make it seem unimportant or too important or too surprising. She didn't want to hear that one of them had been with him or knew of someone who had or heard something about him, about his recklessness or his sudden implicable burst of anger. She didn't want anyone to say, "You need to watch out for that one." Even now, she was... Okay, I'm butchering this one. Reticent about... Reticent? Okay, reticent about telling people. So na tayo. Sorry if you can't see it very well. Actually, I don't know where to put this one. It's covering the... Okay. Sorry. I don't know. I don't know if you can hear me still. So, okay, we're at chapter 5. She was reticent about telling people. Every so often, they were to parties together, like tonight. And only yesterday, they had spent the day by the river with a group of friends. She had talked about him to Rosie, lying in long grass by a river and speaking to the blue sky, but she hadn't told her parents. She knew they would be alarmed by William, who smoked weed, took pills, sometimes looked a bit unwashed, and wouldn't be going to university. Maybe that was the attraction. He was someone her parents wouldn't approve of. In any case, she was leaving for Bristol in September. He was her in-between time, her summer, her escape. I feel a bit sick, said Yolanda, half waking in the back of the car. Wind down the window. Wind down the window, Liam said. Might be sick. Not in my car, you won't. It won't be long till we're at your house, said Jude. But Yolanda... Huh? Tell us if we should pull over, though. But Yolanda didn't answer because she had fallen back asleep. A gurgling noise came from her, then a grunt. Jude felt a bit tipsy herself. Liam had drank a lot, too, and taking who knew what else. But it was only a short journey. A few large drops of rain landed on the windscreen. She had put her hand up to touch his face and felt his lips smile. Then, fuck, he said or shouted, because there was a sharp bend in the road, but the car sped onwards off the road towards the tree. A terrible slow motion, terrible clarity of disaster, in a world that would never be the same again. A scream ripped through the air. Jude couldn't tell which way her body was facing. Her head rang with pain, one side and then the other. Yolanda was sobbing wildly in the back. Benny wasn't saying anything at all. Are you hurt? Liam urgently in the said Liam urgently in the darkness. I can't see. Jude put her hand and found her face, which was warm and sticky. Am I bleeding? She said. Can you get out of the car? Said Liam. I don't know. Yolanda? Benny? Are you okay? What's happened? What's going to happen? Liam climbed out, came around to her side, helped her out too. She couldn't stand. Her legs were shaking too much. And he had sat her on the grass bank. She could make out his pale face. He turned for Yolanda, who stumbled away from the car and was violently sick on the road. Jude heard the splatter of vomit. It had started to rain. She heard Liam talking to Benny. Is he breathing? Yeah, he's breathing. He needs help, though. I'll make a call. Do you have to? Liam squatted beside her and wiped the blood from her face with the hem of his t-shirt. He seemed remarkably calm, almost nonchalant. He'll be all right. Tears and rain were stinging her face. Her tongue was swollen in her mouth. This is a nightmare. This is a nightmare. Sorry. Liam was talking to his phone. How could he be so calm? Jude leaned forward and cradled her face in her arms. She heard Yolanda sobbing and the wind blowing in the trees. Somewhere in an owl out there in wet darkness. Then from far off, a siren. I'm gonna drink water, guys. The ambulance arrived first, and a few minutes later, a police car, and then another blue lights flashing on woods. And on the car's bonnet, buried in the tree, on the pale, scared faces of its 4 passengers. The paramedics lifted Benny into a stretcher, and he opened his eyes at last. "Get off, will you?" he said. "What's going on?" A woman bent over Jude, speaking in a kind voice. But Jude couldn't make out the words. There was a roaring in her head. But she heard the words a police officer spoke to Liam, asking if it was his car. He said it was. She lifted her head and looked at her, smiled as if it was a joke. But Jude, as if none of this really mattered, just one of those things. He was asked if he had been driving, whether he had been drinking, whether they had all been wearing seatbelts. He was told that he was going to be tested. She saw Liam shrug. The blue lights flickered over his face. Everything became confused once more until she saw him being led towards the open door of one of the police cars. I'm fixing my mic, sorry guys. He looked around at her, lifted a hand in what looked like a gesture of farewell. That was the end, really, the end of Liam and Jude, and the glorious agony of first love. The end of her summer, the end of her childhood. Jude stayed in the hospital for 2 days. She had received a head injury, and they wanted to keep her under observation. She had a broken nose that the young doctor assured her would mend and leave no scar. A gash in her forehead needed 12 stitches. The day after the accident, she didn't recognize herself in the mirror. Her face swollen, her skin all purples and deep browns and murky greens. "You could have been killed," said her mother. "What were you thinking, getting in a car with someone who was drunk?" said her father. Her parents looked at each other and asked about Liam. Who was he? Why had she been in his car? Jude winced. "He's just a boy I know," she said. "Just a boy? Her boy." "Ah!" You started calling him. He didn't pick up. She sent several texts, saying she urgently had to see him. And he wrote back saying things were a bit complicated, but not to worry about him. He was fine. he probably wouldn't be going to prison. Just have to do a bit of community service. Travel plans on hold, he wrote. Prison. The word made her sick. Then Jude got out of hospital. She went to his house. The door opened and she felt a sudden rush of panic and excitement at the sight of Liam, but then saw it wasn't Liam. It was someone else who looked like Liam, but was younger. Less formed, less assured. He said that he was Liam's brother, Dermot. He said that Liam wasn't there, that nobody was there, apart from you, Jude said, and he blushed. Apart from you, what that mean? She asked if Liam was alright, and Dermot said he was alright, a bit shaken up. He looked at this boy. What was he, 15, 16? And asked him to tell his brother that she wanted to see him. No, she corrected herself. She corrected herself. She needed to see him. She added with a shake in her voice that it mustn't be like this. Please, she said, please. The words rang in the air between them. Liam's brother looked for a moment as he wanted to say something, but instead simply nodded, and she turned and left. For several days, she sat listlessly in the living room at home, a blanket over her in spite of the heat, her head throbbing, and her face turning into mauve and yellow, and watched daytime TV. Friends came to see her, exclaiming over the exciting awfulness of what had happened. She tried to smile and tried to talk. They brought body lotion and brownies they'd baked. They baked the body lotion? Anyways. Rosie gave her a vase plot plant, which she said Jude would take to university with her, but which died within a week. The crash was like a garnished nightmare, remembered in fragments. Liam was like a figure in a fading dream. Sometimes she woke in early hours and found she was crying. She collected her results, which were better than predicted. So she would go to Bristol and she would become a doctor. Her life was still on track. Liam's life was still not on track. Benny told Jude. That his result wasn't great. He knew he wouldn't be, he said, as if that was a comfort. He's not that bothered. You know what he's like. What's he's like? What was he like? For weeks, she thought about him all the time, and then, bit by bit, it was easier not to think about him. It had only been 3 months of her life. 3 intense, giddying months that had burned a hole in her life. A few days before she was due to leave for Bristol. She saw him in the streets with a girl. They were walking away from her, but she would have recognized him anywhere. The tall figure in tatty jeans, and the slightly loping walk, as if he couldn't be bothered to lift his feet. The dark, unruly hair. She started to cry. Thick tears sliding down her cheeks that weren't bruised by anymore into her mouth, but she didn't try to catch up with him. Instead, she turned away and walked in another direction. She thought that she would never see him again. We're at chapter 1, guys. Nande. Okay, time to check the... what's cute? Hi, what's happened? Okay, so we're at chapter 1. Anyo. We're at chapter 1, guys. What can you guys think? What do you guys think? Well, not really. I haven't been really voice acting for a while, so yeah. We're at page 10. So okay. So let's start. This is again a good deed can turn deadly. Chapter 1. It had been a routine night shift. Jude had been called down multiple times into the casualty department. 3 women in their 80s, 1 woman in her 90s. 3 had fallen, 1 had been brought in unconscious. 2 were severely confused. The ward had been quiet. Not literally quiet. A patient with dementia was calling for her mother over and over again. A male patient woke up repeatedly and shouted something unintelligible and frenzied tone, and went back to sleep, then woke up again and shouted the same fearful words. Jude had talked to the duty nurse about his medication, but decided to leave it as it was. Years before, she had a replacement in an A&E department at a hospital in South London. Friends of hers who had done that job said they enjoyed the adrenaline, the sense of not knowing what you would be doing in 5 minutes' time. Jude had never felt that. She didn't feel much adrenaline in treating the darkened fights, the drunken accidents, the drunken car crashes. You would fix them and send them away, or one would die in there. You couldn't fix them, and you would send them on to someone who could fix them. And sometimes, horribly, there were the mangled dead, or the dying, and she never got used to that. Oh yeah, kaya ako pala tinaas. Kasi hindi ko makita. Okay. When she chose geriatrics. We should write that down. Actually, I should search that for you guys. Chato chato. What's geriatrics? Geriatrics. Oh, it's relating to old people, especially regard to their healthcare. Oh, she's a old people specialist. If I understood that correctly. Yep. Yep. It's treating medically specialty dedicated exclusively for providing high quality patient patient-centered care for older adults. Okay. Geriatrics. Let's check the chats as well. Yay! We're in chapter 1. When she chose geriatrics, her friend seems surprised. She didn't find it depressing? No, she didn't. She did the things other doctors did, making diagnoses, prescribing drugs, ordering tests. But she also felt like a doctor from an earlier age, when sometimes all one could do was to sit with the patient, hold their hand, talk to them, listen to them, attend. Behind everything, the mask of old age, they were as funny and complicated and fucked up as everyone else. Every time, she was able to send the patient home a little better than when they came in, without pain perhaps, able to walk unaided. It felt like a victory. She looked at her phone. The 94-year-old woman who would be having her x-ray. Jude made a mental note to check up on her before she left. Then she got cross with her and made a real note. Mental notes were useless. She looked at the board on the wall next to the nurse's station. Nothing she had dealt with. She walked across to the nurse behind the desk and asked if anyone had called from A&E. The nurse shook her head. They're terrible down there. They never got back to you. They never returned calls. She tapped her finger on the desk. But then, as soon as they want something, I know, said Jude. Tell me about it. These shared complaints about inefficiency and arrogance of other departments. That was how they bonded. Someone called for you, and said the nurse. Did you take their number? No, I mean called, came here. Asked to see you. Which department? I don't think he's from the hospital. I said you were working. He said he'd wait downstairs. Jude was puzzled. Who would come to her work in the middle of the night? That was weird. That's weird. Was it something serious? The nurse shook her head. I don't think so. He said he'd wait. It didn't seem so urgent. He's down at the main reception. Jude looked up at the clock. 6:30. Half an hour left, and this was often the busiest part of her shift. She had to carry out her usual duties while preparing to hand over to the incoming registrar and then actually handing over. At times, it felt like some vengeful god sent in a really tricky case just as she was preparing to leave. The unconscious woman was proving complicated. It was probably a stroke, but the woman had a multitude of other conditions, and after a confusing and inadequate conversation with her carer, an inconclusive examination, and a series of phone calls, Jude looked up and saw it was 20 past 11. Past 7. 20 past 7. She walked into the little office where she kept her coat and her bag and her keys, and as she always did, she took a moment letting her thoughts settle. Was there anything she might have missed? She couldn't think of anything. She got out her phone, looked at it, and blinked. There was a faint aura around it, as if it was glowing. Sometimes this was just tardiness, but usually it wasn't. Usually it was a sign that a migraine was coming. It was almost never happened during work. It was as if her brain was politely waiting until she did what she had to get done. It would give her enough time to get home, and then the headache would start. Sometimes the medication would stop it. If she took it in time, she started to check her messages. She and Nat had a wedding to prepare. Who's Nat? Sorry. Often Often she wished they could have simply gone into the register office, the two of them, with a couple of friends for witnesses. But Nat had said that it was a great excuse for a party, and his mother would never forgive him if her son didn't have a proper wedding. And from there, it had grown like fungus. It had taken months to settle on the right venue, and now that that was settled, there was a catering and the flowers and checking the numbers, and there was her dress. Gathering migraine set out a little flash of pain as Jude allowed herself to think about that. She didn't wear long dresses and shoes with heels. She wore men's suits from charity shops, jumpsuits, jeans, walking boots, and sandals and pumps. Anything that made her feel agile, ready for a quick getaway. But Nat wrinkled his nose when she said that, and then laughed anxiously, trying to make it into a joke. She wanted her to be a bride. He was anticipating her in his soft focus, wearing something pale and feminine. As she looked at him with tenderness and said, "I do." She felt guilty complaining. Even to herself, Nat was doing the hard work. Every so often, he would come to her with a choice. Would he like this or that? This food, that wine, this decoration? Her phone rang. She knew who it was before she even looked. When she worked nights, it was as if She and Nat were in different time zones, even though they were living together. Sorry, guys. I'm getting bitten by mosquitoes. It's kind of annoying. Ah! Which face are we? Oh, no! And different time zones. Oh, sorry. I'm... My burp tastes like peanut butter. I didn't eat peanut butter, did I? Did I? Ah, okay. It's itchy! I'm getting eaten by the mosquitoes. Anyways, when she worked nights, it was as if she and Nat were in different time zones, even though they were living together. She would get home exhausted, just as he was leaving for his office in Lambeth, where he had worked as a public health provost. Blah, blah, blah. Where he worked as public health project officer. Sometimes she would miss him altogether. "Good morning," she said. "Any dramas?" "Just the usual." The events of the nights were already fading, like when she woke up. Like when she woke up after a deep sleep and could feel the memories of her dreams slipping away. "Shall we meet for breakfast? I can set off in a few minutes." "Lovely. Usual place then?" "Normally." She left the hospital by the side entrance, but when she reached the ground floor, she turned and headed for the main entrance. In the reception area were a number of people around, sitting on benches, clustered in groups, talking, reading, waiting. "You look different," said a voice. "But you also look exactly the same." It's Liam. It's Liam. Jude had forgotten that June had forgotten that someone was waiting to see her. She turned her head, and there he was. He was tall, about her own height, dark tangled hair, bearded, eyes that were almost black. He was dressed in jeans and a battered gray jacket, and he had a rich patterned cotton scarf knotted around his neck. "You're hard to track down," he said. She didn't recognize him, and then she recognized him. "You're kidding," she said, a smile forming. It was Liam. Chapter 2. "You're a doctor." And Liam smiled, and a soft, slow smile that brought the past back so vividly that Jude felt it in her stomach. She looked around as if she needed to reassure herself that this was true, that she was really a doctor, and this really was a hospital. Yes, I am. Just about. It was what you always wanted. It was impossible to exchange small talk with a ghost had come out of her past. I never thought I'd see you again. Yes, I know, he said softly. I mean, I don't exactly know, but it was complicated. She looked at him and couldn't look away. She didn't know what to say. Can we get a coffee? He said. Unless you've got somewhere to go. I'm on my way home. It's my bedtime. Maybe decaffeinated coffee then. Wow. She shook her head and smiled. Nothing keeps me awake after a night shift. I'd like to have a coffee. They left the hospital and crossed Whitechapel Road, and Jude led them up Brick Lane to a small cafe that recently opened. All soft chairs and rough wooden tables. She suddenly remembered Nat was about to set off to the hospital to meet her. She hoped he hadn't left by now. She took out her phone and texted him, "Sorry, emergency. Can't do breakfast. See you this evening. XXXX." I think those are your kisses. They faced each other across the table. Jude felt giddy with the strangeness of it. "Do you want breakfast?" she asked. "Eggs or anything?" He shook his head and ordered coffee for them both. Her hunger had vanished. As the young woman behind the counter prepared the drinks, Jude and Liam simply looked at each other without speaking. The silence didn't feel strange or embarrassing. When the coffee arrived, Jude took a packet from her pocket, extracted 2 pink pills, and swallowed them with a gulp of coffee. Liam looked quizzical. "I've got a migraine coming on. This sometimes stops it. You never used to get them, did you?" "No, they began shortly after." She stopped. "After the crash. That was when they had begun. I get them a lot. Colors start looking strange, and then I go to bed for a few hours." Anyway, congratulations," said William, holding up his coffee cup. "What about? About your coming marriage? How do you know something about that?" "Someone told me when I was tracking you down." Jude laughed. "Tracking me down? What are you, a private detective?" "Just an old friend." He sipped his coffee. "A doctor, huh? Like you always said you'd be. You did it." Jude's throat felt tight. She had thought she would never see Liam again. And yet, over the years, she had imagined him, by chance, on the bus, on the street, in the crowd of people, walking in Cheese Street, Glee Streets, by her parents' house in Shropshire. because there were things that she needed to say, had needed to say for over a decade. Although now the moment had actually come, she didn't know how to start saying them. I should be the one tracking you down, she said, hatingly. Happingly. I know that you... She stopped. I never forgotten. He frowned as if he was considering this. When he spoke, he didn't seem angry or even sad, just reflective, as if he were talking about someone else. I made some choices, he said. Not always good choices. You probably heard about how I messed up my exams, so top of everything else. I'm sorry. That's alright. It happens. And things are better now. On the whole, I got some stuff to sort out, but I'm fine. He paused a bit and then smiled. Not ironically or one of his knowing half smiles, but a smile that transformed his face and made him look younger. No! I've got a little kid, he said. Alfie. He's one now. Jude blinked. Wow, a son? Does he look like you? People say so, poor little guy. That's so nice. She wanted to cry, but didn't know why. She smiled instead. Yeah, well, Jude took a deep breath. I need to say something. Alright. First, before I say it, I'm with Nat. And I'm lucky to have him. And we're going to get married. Well, you know that. And we're buying a place together. Good. His tone was dry. She put out her hand and gripped his. It was dry and warm, and his fingers curled around hers. No, listen, I'm being serious. I had to say that first because I really want to say something else. She took another breath. I loved you so much, Liam. Back then, I was smitten, blown away. You were all I could think about. And for ages after, I thought about you. For years, really. Jude almost gasped as she had said this. She had never said anything like this to him at the time. She had never said anything like this out loud. She thought of Nat and felt a stab of guilt. Liam shook his head. You turned my life upside down too, you know? And then it got taken away after the crash. Now Jude spoke very carefully and slowly. When I look back on it, it was like a kind of a fairy tale. a fairy tale. This awful thing happened, and at the end of it, I got everything I wanted. You almost lost of what you wanted. And you lost most of what you wanted. You'd look at Liam, but she couldn't see any response. She couldn't tell what he felt. Afterwards, you rejected me. You didn't want to see me. I felt you hated the sight of me because of what had happened through, and then I went to a tunnel and tried to pretend none of it had ever happened. I am ashamed of that. It was 10 years ago, said Liam softly. 11, said Jude. More than 11. We were just kids. I know we are. I know, and here we are, all grown up. She looked down at her coffee. She didn't even touch it, just took a sip. It was cold. Without asking her, Liam picked the 2 cups, took them over the counter, and came back with 2 fresh ones. Here, he said. Drink it before it gets cold too. Jude sipped her coffee. Her head buzzed mildly. You haven't asked me why I got back in touch with you. It's a shock. I'm still processing it all. Okay? So why have you got back in touch with me? Liam grinned and suddenly looked just like he was a teenager. Okay, I'm at Lowally. No. Might have to end it after this chapter. But anyways. It's still a shock. I'm still processing it all. Okay? So why have you got back in touch with me? Liam grinned and suddenly he looked just like he was a teenager. When he was in love with him, and she could feel it right in her chest. I want you to do me a favor, he said. His eyes were black as holes. A favor? Yes. What kind of favor? He took a piece of paper from his pocket and pushed it across the table. She took it. It was an address, Springs Cottage, and with a postcode she didn't recognize, but clearly out of London. What's this? I want you to go there on Saturday. Jude had thought he might want some money or help with getting a job. Something that would make them both awkward. But she couldn't make any sense of this. I don't understand. You want me to go to this cottage? Why? Where is it? There's nothing complicated. I booked it for the weekend. It's an Airbnb place. I'll meet you there on Saturday evening and tell you what favor it is. What the favor is. It's nothing big. You mean go there and stay the night? Yes. Where is it? Norfolk. Jude felt lopsided. The table seems to tip away from her. She didn't know whether it was her oncoming migraine or her sense of utter confusion. "I don't understand what you're asking." He smiled, but his eyes were watchful. "It's very simple." "Why me?" Liam hesitated before replying. "I thought of you," he said finally. "It felt like you were the only person I could ask. I think we're important to each other. We always will be." He leaned forward. "But I want to be clear, Jude. I'm asking a favor, and you can just say no, and I won't be cross. I won't reapproach you. I'll just finish my coffee, and we'll say goodbye, and you'll never see me again." Jude took a sip of her coffee. "It's gone cold again." She placed it on the saucer. She gave a funny little laugh. "I feel embarrassed even saying this, but you're not asking me to do something wrong, are you?" He shook his head. "I wouldn't ask you to do anything wrong. Although you mustn't tell anyone, not even this nut of yours. Nobody at all." She's getting kidnapped. She looked at him, full in the face, and felt a lurch of memory so intense that it almost made her swoon. She could feel the heat of that summer. The feel of him, his touch, and then it's the end of that screaming smash of metal. "You know I can't say no, don't you? You know I can't say no, don't you?" "I don't know that at all. Can I go to this place on Saturday and come back on Sunday?" "Yes. Norfolk, yes. And that's all?" "Yes." "Alright." Okay, guys, this is chapter 3. We're gonna end it at this because I'm getting sleepy. I'm gonna need to write something. And I drank water. I'm drinking. Oh, guys. She's gonna get kidnapped on Saturday. And why? It's been so long. Like, the party was in the middle of summer, and the college exams. He didn't approach her. She went out with a girl. She didn't reach out to her. And her brother, his brother actually, is Dermot. Bro, there's a lot to unpack. But that's probably to chapter 2. We're at page 24. I don't have my what's that called? My I forgot. Mm, my book kinemat. Ano ba yun? Highlight, note. Just try to remember what page we are, because I'm probably gonna forget. I don't have that thing where you put inside the book to remember which page you are on. What's that called? Book highlight, bookmark. It's a bookmark. I don't have a bookmark. But anyways, yeah. I got it. Hi. You're still awake. And you're yeah, we're page 42. Oh my gosh, baliktad. 24. Yeah. I'm sorry. Okay. So that's a good deed can turn deadly. Not actually the finishing one where like look at this. It's really thick. We're like that page. Oh my gosh, guys. This is actually fun. My voice is changing every like other minute, every other minute. So I don't know. I kind of liked how I tried to voice act the characters, but end up like with other voices. I should get I should read the whole sentence first before deciding which character it was. I'm acting, okay? I'm acting. I'm voice acting, guys. I think. I am sleepy though. So it can be both. We're like, I think, 1/15. The joke lang. I'm not really sure. But that's chapter 2. Probably to chapter 2. Yeah. Hopefully I can get a better setup. And I also like to thank JCF. You're, you're the, okay. Change your name, okay. Well, I also would like to thank JCM for being here, for watching. Thank you. And for staying with me to read and drink water. Hopefully, guys, we need to sleep. We need to sleep right now. But yeah, I probably won't be able to because my sleepiness is gone. But yeah, this is a good time, guys. I want to continue more with this. But yeah, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for being here. Let's sleep now. Because we're going to do a lot more tomorrow. I'm probably not gonna read tomorrow since we have PE. Yeah, an update from me, Riri. Did I do an intro? I forgot. probably not gonna do any of this tomorrow because I'm probably gonna be sleepy. Or yeah, sleepy probably, and we're gonna like do some assignments. Yeah. Schedule reveal. No. Private life. I don't know. But yeah, I'm gonna start to do something. I'm I'm gonna start something after this. I'm gonna start an assignment. Kasi I can't. I don't feel sleepy anymore. So yeah. But my phone it's 15%. So yeah. Hi. So guys, I hope you guys had fun with me reading. Sorry for the noise outside. Sorry for my mic. Haven't upgraded it. But yeah. Hopefully like in the middle of this year I can get a better mic. I'm not sure about my phone if I can get an upgrade. But yeah, we're gonna be focused on school because you know, I don't know. Actually, I don't know. I don't know what the future holds, but yeah. Anyways, that's it. I'm gonna end the stream now. Thank you all for watching. Also, JCM, thank you for watching. Thank you for staying. Okay. Actually, we had a lot of visitors. We have a lot of visitors. I didn't show them to you. They're on the floor. But yeah, we've been visited by a lot of cockroaches. They're listening as well. But yeah, thank you all for watching. That's a Pokemon. Yeah, there's a cat outside. And yeah, dami rin lamok. Nakakainis. But anyways, that's it. Bye-bye. 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 Love you all. That's it. That's it for today. This is Marian 18 and see you all guys next time. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, Yesiam. Yeah, bye-bye. Sleep, sleep, sleep. Sleep na, sleep na. Bye-bye. Don't know how to end this. Bye, guys. Love you all. Bye-bye. Wah, wah.